All right, welcome back to the show, folks. A new website that focuses on the Latino community has been launched. We're here now with the publisher and one of the founders, I guess, Diana Alvario, a longtime journalist, PR consultant. Welcome. I heard about the CTLatinoNews.com. I'm excited for you. I think this is long overdue, so tell us about this website.
Thank you, and I like that term long overdue, and that's really what a lot of folks have been saying. It's an idea that started about 6 months ago, and it really came out of the understanding that there are nearly 500,000 Latinos in our state. And that's according to the U.S. Census figures. This is not media kit figures. And you have to begin to understand that we're a diverse community. And out of those 500,000, in 73% of the homes, again, census figures, English is spoken. And I intuitively knew that more and more Latinos are becoming much more English dominant, are more comfortable in English. Now, when we began arriving in the 1950s, Latinos, 1940s, but significantly in the 1950s, Spanish language developed, Spanish language media, and it effectively reached those kinds of, that Spanish language dominant person. We've matured. We've been here 50, 60 years now, so we're not replacing Spanish language media. That has a role among a segment in our community. What we're doing is adding to the distribution of information to a very significant segment of the population, which you know is an important part of the economic and political fabric of the state.
Why haven't more of these mainstream media outlets tapped into this market? Because if you were selling cups or water and your market base told you that you're growing populations with Latinos, you do everything you could to reach that market. Yet in the media industry, they've done quite the contrary, right? They haven't attracted, and that's for the black market as well. But talk to me about that, because that's always been fascinating from a business standpoint.
I've had a very long career. I worked as a journalist, public relations, marketing. So nobody else did it. I've been waiting. I figured somebody can see the census figures. When 2010 came around, I said, okay, this will be it. And it didn't happen. And it was interesting. I was talking, after I came up with the idea, I chatted with a few people. Dr. Fred McKinney is one of my business advisors. One of the my business advisors. And I chatted with him in January. I said, I'm thinking about doing this. Don't know if I have the time now. He said, who's going to do it and who's going to do it correctly.
Right.
And that's the important thing, because, just translating information, that's not what we're talking about. If you look at our website, we're covering real stories. Everything from consumer information, for example, from the Consumer Department, the Department of Consumer Affairs, notario fraud. In Latin American countries and Spanish American countries,
you're assuming
a notary.
Notario means what is?
Exactly, I'm about to tell you. A notary public.
Okay.
But in a lot of these countries, they have a lot of authority. They're closer to being an attorneys. So you come here and you hear notary public, you think, oh, this person can help me with immigration. And so there's a lot of issues going on there, so we had a consumer piece on that.
Okay.
Let's
take a look at your site real quick while we're talking about it. I think we have a little something there for you. CTLatinoNews.com. So keep talking. I saw the story on Carmen Sierra, the new assistant treasurer. She's the first Latina.
How many reporters were there? The CTLatinoNews.com reporter was on site.
She's the first assistant city treasurer who's Latina.
Exactly. Right? And, you're entering into the world of finance. Okay, she is the assistant city treasurer of a major city. They oversee $90 million in pension. So the fact that we are, that a Latina like Carmen, who's quite accomplished, is entering that field, first in the state, says a whole lot in terms of how do we share this financial literacy information and that sort of education with our community. We thought it was important enough to cover.
Is it an indictment, back to my question on the mainstream media, is it an indictment on them that they haven't done more? Because it simply speaks to the fact that you don't have any Latinos in the upper boardrooms or in the sales department. When you talk about not connecting to communities, it's as simple as one thing. It means that you don't have folks under your umbrella who look like those folks. I'm
a former president of the National Association of Hispanic Journalists, and that was in the 90s, and certainly that was one of our biggest issues, that there aren't people of color in newsrooms. But what I will tell you now, in today's day and age, and especially with CTLatinoNews.com, we are not disparaging any other media. We want to partner with other media, because clearly, I've worked in newsrooms. You get 500 press releases a day. How much can you possibly cover? What we see ourselves as is a service to supplement that. Right. And already we've partnered with ctmirror.org. We've partnered with...
And they're glad to have you, I bet you, right?
Absolutely. They can't cover everything.
You can't cover what you don't know, right?
Exactly. And they also, how many people can you have on your staff, and especially in today's, today's economic realities. So we're looking to partner and provide this. And I have to tell you, we are being really well received in terms by the general media.
Well,
because
from a business standpoint, you want to broaden your market, right?
Exactly.
If the Latino market is the fastest growing market out there, and you have no one in your shop who's Latino, and you have someone who can bring you a portal that deals with that, you just add water and make some money. Right? Broaden your audience. So
we were able to spend time and focus on that, the Senate race in the 23rd District in Bridgeport, which is an interesting race, and it's shaping up to be one of the most controversial in the state, as you know.
Ernie Newton.
Ernie Newton,
right.
And Andres Ayala.
Yeah.
And he would be the first Latino state senator should he win that race. It's a three-way race, three good candidates. Having said that, I have to tell you, Stan, when we shared that with my editor, with reporters, they said, there's no Latino who's in the state Senate? Stop and think about that. So it's that sort of information. And we have two audiences. It's not just the English-speaking Latino, but it's also the non-Latino, because you have to know about your neighbors. I see this site as good for the entire state. We want to engage non-Latinos on this site as well. We want non-Latinos to visit the site, read about this, engage. I want to hear opinions, diverse opinions. We all live in the state together. We're all important, part of the future of the state. But
it's a business, right? So talk to me in broad pictures. Can you make money off this? Well, how long before you know whether you have something going? About 15 seconds. When will you know that, okay, you're making money? Because it is a business, right? It's a business, and I'm happy to say that the advertisers are very interested in this. It's almost as though what you said early on, finally, someone's doing this. There are vehicles, but everyone knew we weren't reaching everyone. We weren't reaching this incredibly underserved segment of the Latino market. And they waited to see the product, and the product is good. We have seasoned journalists. We are doing good news. We're going to talk more about that in a second. We'll come back. You know the news business, right? Got to take a break, make some money here, right? We got to make some money too, right? When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Diane Alvario, publisher of the new Latino-oriented website, ctlatinonews.com. We'll talk more about the emergence of the Latino market in business and politics. Don't go away.